So, as I'm plotting out the show today, and it was interesting because, you don't want to, it's certainly not a scripted show, and it's certainly not a scripted station. I mean, to me, the essence of sports radio is to have a real-time reaction. Anything that's like, oh, well, you say this, and then maybe I can count. Nope, not interested. Not me, not this station, not our show. But, there's got to be, as I call, a little bit of a skeleton, a little bit of a roadmap as you structure the show loosely, what you're going to hit out of the chute, right? And I'm thinking about this on the ride in. I'm like, oh, man. And by the way, we're going to get to Brett Beatty. Wow. I mean, I love the kid's swing. Love his swing. So I'm like, I could go there. Very resilient win by the Mets. Yeah, we'll get to the Mets. I don't know that that's the lead. It could be. It's got to be the Yankees. A walk-off granny. Now, with that being said, me and Hop are setting things up, and I'm like, man, I don't really know where to go because I'm conflicted here. And I think many of you are as well. Listen, the last thing I'm going to do is get on the air after a walk-off grand slam for a team that was hemorrhaging, bleeding out, at least perceptually, and minimize that. That's weak. I mean, that's just being miserable when you wake up. No. I mean, they needed every foot of that ball off of his bat, Donaldson. Huge. However, Mr. Boone was talking about fight after the game and grit. And while DJ's toe was on the mend, pinch hit last night, Stanton's on the mend, Judge, you could get hot eventually. God, I hate that I'm going to say this, but I'm going to. I still don't trust their fight. The Yankees. I don't. I'd love to get on the air and say that I do. I don't. I mean, why would I? I mean, you can't flip that quickly. Now I'm going to need some evidence that, this month-plus stretch of wretched, uninspired, impotent, lifeless baseball is the anomaly and not the good start. I'm still off, right? We're still trying to decipher which is the anomaly, which is the outlier. The Yankees, who were drawing comparisons to '98, which was moronic, but people were doing it, or this 6-week melees that has had us all at the edge. Like, whoa, I don't know. I actually think it's somewhere in between. They were never nearly as good as they looked, and I certainly hope that they're not as bad as they've looked the last 6 weeks or so. But I don't understand how am I supposed to get on the air and after dissecting a litany of issues for this team, Cashman, Boone, and all the things we've talked about, one grand, again, big home run, much needed, and maybe a springboard, maybe. How do I get on the air when a guy hits a walk-off rain delay midnight and say, oh, everything's changed? I can't. And I won't. And I'll tell you this, I tweeted this last night, and with no great pleasure doing so. They were down 3-zip. This is before they fell behind 4-zip. And I tweeted 3-0 deficit. It feels insurmountable. And it did. So it's an awesome win. And listen, on a lot of ways and a lot of levels, I should say, if you want to be positive, and so I'm certainly inclined to be positive, Last night, and just to throw the Mets in here for a moment, last night was the type of night that allows you to maybe once again dream, maybe, of a November Yankees-Mets showdown. Maybe. Because that's been on pause for a while. Not because of the Mets, because of the Yankees, 877-337-6666. But, just because, Aaron Boone was lauding their spirit last night, their fight, doesn't mean that truly is, one of their prime assets, like a real characteristic of this team. I'm not saying that it's not, but I can't overreact. Listen, I chose not to overreact to a week of bad play. It's a 162-game season. Cyclical nature of being, all the things that we say, right? Almost rotely without even thinking, but that do apply. Of course, we know what those things are with baseball. Long, laborious, grueling. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, even the best, right? Hell, even the 2000 Yankees finished 3-15 in their final 18 games, and they scored 7 runs in their last, 12 or 13 games. They were lifeless. What happened? Beat the Mets in the World Series. But as I said yesterday, that inherent trust, that faith, not that as I go back 22 years ago, it wasn't somewhat rattled. I'm sure it was. And I'm sure I was ranting and raving as a young broadcaster like a lunatic that what's going on with the 2000 Yankees. I was. But at least when, if you're living in that moment, you're saying, Jeter's 26, Bernie's 31, Pettit's 28. You got stars everywhere. You've got DNA championship. There's two things about this Yankee team that I'm going to need to see a whole hell of a lot more from than last night before I jump back in. I'll stick my toe back in after last night, but I'm not going anywhere past the ankles yet. I got to see. And yes, I do think this team is short of a World Series makeup. I do. I've said that. Hope I'm wrong. I do not think the Yankees are good enough to win the World Series. All right? But I also didn't think the Reds would beat the A's back in the day, with Canseco and all those guys, McGuire, La Russa, I didn't think they'd win Steinbach, right? No. So you never know. But the two things that really, really worry me about this team, number one, the construction. That's an old story, we know. And number two, they have just seemed a little disinterested is strong. That's unfair to their professionalism. I'm not going down that road. But the difference in grit, I hate to always make it a Yankee-Met thing, but the difference in grit between the Yankees and the Mets is palpable. It's obvious. The level of energy that exudes, from both teams and off the SNY screen, unless it's on Amazon or somewhere else where we can't freaking find it, or the Yes screen, it's different. It's different. The Mets run the bases. The Mets manufacture. The Mets have real energy. Like the Yankees were still kind of waiting for that last night a grand slam. Still waiting for the 3-run bomb. You don't win championships that way. You know how I know? Because the Yankees have tried to win championships that way the last couple of years. Hell, they've tried to win championships that way since 2009, and it has not worked. So, again, I'm not going to be Mr. Negative. I enjoy the wins. I enjoy the high moments. I enjoy the points of inflection, which invariably will happen during a long, arduous baseball season. Don't want to overreact. I don't think I overreacted with the slide because it's been 5 weeks, okay? And I think I've been fair there. I think I've been fairly measured in assessing where this team was, where they were before last night, and who they ultimately might be, all right? And I'm going to remain fair after last night. Hell yeah, it was awesome. Having a little fun. Get out the water bottles. Throw gum on each other. Come out. Let's see this now translate to 4 with Toronto. Let's go. Let's take on those Mets next week. Let's go. But they can vary. It's a 4-game series with Toronto. It's a 2-game series with the Mets. If you told me right now the Yankees go 2-4, why would I be surprised? Why would I be surprised? All right, 10-10 here on the Fan Tiki and Tierney Show. Minus Tiki. What is Tiki doing today off? Where is he? He told me. I wasn't listening like usual. Where is he?
I mean, is today the day that he's doing the Wheel of Fortune?
Oh, that's what it was. Yes. He's out taping an episode of the Wheel of Fortune.
What a lazy guy.
Tiki the star. Oh, he's definitely not lazy. He's the complete opposite. He's got more energy than all of us put together. We're inside of the Town Fair Tire Studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that at Town Fair you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Twitter at Tiki and Tierney. Hey, Jerry Ferrara. My boy Jerry, 1205 on the Yankees, on his Giants. Maybe a little Donovan Mitchell Knicks stuff. And John Flaherty, who I used to rap with a long time ago regularly in a different life on a different station. He's going to come on at 1. So, all right, you know where I stand on the Yankees right now. I will do the Mets at 11. I enjoyed it. It was awesome. Maybe it's a springboard. But, hey, after what I've seen for the last 5.5 weeks, I'm going to need a lot more than that to say they're back because I don't believe that they are. Sid's in Riverdale. What's happening, Sid? First up on the Fan. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, Brandon. How are you?
Okay, Sid. How are you?
Okay, I'm a very tired Yankee fan after last night.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I'm not falling for it either. They have to show me a lot more than last night. So here's my question, Brandon. If the Yankees fall short of the World Series this year,
Mm-hmm.
who's going to take the fall? And I don't want to be too blunt.
Yep.
But when they have, the general meetings, the general winter meetings, who goes, who stays? Is Hicks coming back?
Oh, God, I hope not.
Chapman coming back? I mean, where do we go from here?
Well,
if the statement is win a championship or bust,
yep.
then where do we go?
Yeah, but hang on a Sid. Hang on a Sid. Yeah, they did end the game late last night. Hang on a Sid, sec. Hang on a sec, Sid. That is our mandate. Like, we have taken the Hal Steinbrenner has not uttered those words. Hal Steinbrenner has not come out and said championship or bust. He hasn't. We do that for him. So I say that because to answer your question, Sid, I don't think that they're going to suddenly deviate and go in the direction that many of us want them to go, and that's more emphasis on bottom line, like did you win the title or did you at least get to the World Series or not? They seem pretty comfortable rolling out, winning 95, winning 98, winning 100, making some tweaks in the offseason, and coming back and seeing if it sticks the next year. Now, that's not how I would do it, but that's how they're doing it. So, Sid, when you ask me what would they do, I'm not trying to be evasive. I honestly don't know. I would lean on probably not much.
I mean, will they bring up Volpe and Peraza?
Well, next year. Volpe's in the Bronx next year for sure. And you'd have to think that Peraza is as well. Hell, I think he should have been the prospect that was brought up yesterday. One of them, anyway. Yeah, I mean, those are changes that are definitely coming because those young men are incredibly highly thought of. Now, the only thing that might change, let me at least go back a second. Let's say the unthinkable occurs and Judge bounces. All right? I'm not even going to, just Judge gone. Well, now you go all in on Ohtani. You have to, right? So at that point, you're going to have to give up a Volpe. You're going to have to give up a Peraza. Like, things are going to have to obviously happen. So I can't really answer it in a manner that I think is satisfactory for everybody because we all kind of asked the same question that Sid just asked, including me. But there's been no proclivity. That's a good word. I get to use that too often. Hey, Colt, proclivity. My 7-year-old son is here. Let's start using that in school, huh? Did I use it right?
I don't know.
Well, you have no idea.
No, I never heard it before, actually.
You've never heard of the word proclivity?
I don't know what it is. This show is too educated for me at times. You and Tiki.
See, I just have to everybody needs to know when Tiki's gone, like the intelligence factor doesn't completely go down the drain. I mean, it drops. There's no doubt that it drops, but it's not completely without intelligence. No, but listen, I don't know. Here's the thing, though, and somebody tweeted me this morning, and I'm like, it's an interesting thought. And I've used this and applied this to other situations, but not necessarily the Judge situation, because baseball is very different, right? I think I've used this more with basketball. Now, I don't even know who tweeted this, but the premise was, something to consider. If the Yankees are short of championship material, which many of us non-fanboys believe that they are. I mean, with all due respect, we want them to win, but I don't think that they are. All right. If that's the case, and sadly or ultimately we are right, can you make the case on some level? I'm just reiterating the premise of his tweet that if you're not good enough to win with Judge, why would you break the bank for Judge? And it's an interesting way to attack it. Now, with basketball, like if you have a guy who's an all-star but not a superstar, you're going to get 2 rounds in, maybe a 7-game series in round 2, like Lillard, even though he is a superstar. Maybe that's not a good example because I think it's more about what's not around him than him. Maybe you get to a conference finals, but you fall short. But, it's not LeBron, a couple of years ago, he's going to take you to a championship, or Bird or Magic. Is it worth going forward with that guy with a max deal if he's not going to get you to a championship? And there's a lot of things to unpack there because you have to look at attendance, you have to look at merch, marketing, and that applies to Judge. And there's no salary cap in baseball like there is in hoops. So it's not apples to apples, but I understand, like, when somebody says, man, wouldn't you maybe at least broach it? I know it's almost like, oof, what are we saying here? And I would hate to see that happen, but could you theoretically be better taking that money, dispersing it elsewhere, and actually being the championship team that we want? Not a crazy thought. Honestly, not a crazy thought. Let's get Tony up in the Bronx. Tony's another fan. What's up, Tone?
Hey, what's up, Brandon?
Tony, how are you?
Hey, first of all, let me just say this, man. You are my man. You're my dog. You're my ace, right? What took you so long to get to the fan? I mean, it's like
a good question,
I never
man.
listened to you on the other station. I don't know where the hell you were at. ESPN, wherever the hell you were at.
Well, I was getting a paycheck. I was able to feed my family. Yeah, that's a good question, Tony. I got to tell you, that is a good. Why the hell did it take so long for me to get to the fan? I don't know. That's on them. That's not on me.
You're a diehard Yankee fan, man, and I love diehard Yankee fans. You know what I mean? So
I got you.
I love you, man.
Thanks,
and you're
buddy.
my go-to guy at the fan. I
Appreciate
just wanna that in the fan. Everybody document that. Have them document that.
I got you. So last
right.
night, where are you right now, based on the Grand Slam, the emotions, the walk-off, but also the 5 weeks of awful baseball? Where are you at, Tone?
Oh, Brandon, I am nowhere near where you're at. I mean, and I got tons of respect for you, bro. You're a diehard Yankees fan, and I can hear it, and I love it, and that's why I started calling you, bro.
Okay.
And that's it. But, I mean, 2 out of 3 out of the Sox, 2 out of 3 out of the Mariners, 2 out of 3 out of everybody, and we get a walk-off last night, and you're saying, oh, I'm not sure, maybe. I mean, this is a meltdown in the process. If it wasn't for that walk-off last night, I mean, we'd be done. I mean, we're still done. It's still a wrap. I mean, this team is going downhill. I told you the last time I called, I don't know if I'm at the process of just, like, wrapping it up on Aaron Boone, but damn, man. I mean, 103 and 100 wins the first 3 years, all the records. Never mind that. But still, damn. I mean, can we just get going on this team? And it's not happening, Brandon. I mean, I'm telling you, man, if we're flat, and we're flat. We're flat.
And listen, Tony, I was in the building the other night. It felt like I walked into a funeral, honestly.
Yeah, you and Tiki. And the thing is, with Tiki, I wish he was there because I would send him to his room because the thing is, he's going to come out and say that, oh, my goodness, it's because of CC that he's a fan. Are you kidding me? You sound like a Mets fan to me.
Well, I mean, you got to take that. Oh, hold on, let me defend my boy a little bit here, Tony. I mean, you got to take that. I got to guy him a little late. You got to take that up with Tiki. He said that yesterday. Listen, I think why he said that is out of respect to you guys. Like, the last thing anybody wants to do is put it this way. Like, my kids started playing soccer. I love watching them play. I love it. And I've really grown to appreciate the game of soccer more. I just had no interest in soccer up until a year ago, and I mean none. I mean, World Cup, go USA if we qualify, but that was it. None. But that would be like me in 2 years, like because of my kids, I became a devout fan, and I rooted for some professional team. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, yeah, man, I'm diehard Liverpool. I've been with you guys from day one. No, that's disrespectful to Liverpool or whatever team I decided to adopt. You know what I mean? So I think the reason why Tiki did that was out of deference and out of respect to true diehard fans who live and die with this, like most of us in the city. That was out of respect. That was nothing more than that. And let's be honest. I mean, it's not a bad way to become a Yankee fan. Your boy CC Sabathia. I've heard some good stories, So, but you want to take it up with T? Go for it. He'll be back next week. It's all good. He'll answer it. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan. All right, coming up, and we're getting to the Mets at 11. I had a thought last night that I have not had about a single team, not only that I root for, but every team in this city. A thought permeated my mind that I've never had before in all my years watching sports. Wait till you hear this next.